When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
To ride, standing in the station, ready to step inside. All you can see, something that you do, was red as the future was waiting for you. Train rolls in the station, you cannot make a move. Something inside you gives you heat, and then you know it's true. Is the fog lifting, or is it in your mind? You stand frozen as time unwinds. And moan, you can't reach your hand up and stop standing alone. Let them take your hand as you lift your face. Rise and take your place.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Hey folks, welcome to Eye on the Target Radio. As we start to wrap up this year, we've got this show and then one more, and that is the end of 2021. Farewell, sayonara, see you baby, can't come too soon. I am ready for it to be done and we start all over again. You know, new year, new you, fresh start, all that kind of stuff, because it's just so ready. So, did you shoot anything interesting or exciting or handle or anything?
Oh, no, I've been watching some good auction sites, and like I say, the wife's doing some cleaning for redecorating.
Oh.
So you would not believe how much stuff I got stacked here, there, and everywhere. So.
Yeah, I would. So.
Well, the other day she went on this rant because she reached into a bag that I had there at the bottom of the steps, and it happened to have one of those pull-through gun cleaning.
Okay, yeah, like yeah.
Well, the brass brush that's embedded in that was embedded in hers, so then now she's not a happy camper, because those are sharp as sharp can be, because it looks like it's a rope, it feels like it's a rope, and then it grabs you back. Right, so that set her off for a pretty good
so
part of the afternoon anyhow.
So our video producer is telling us that it's pronounced 2022. So maybe I did say 2020. I don't know. I sure don't want to go back to
20 also or something. Huh? So it's just going to be a redo of.
No, it's not. I refuse to have a redo of 2020 or 2021. We're headed to a new, more positive.
You know, it doesn't make a difference. We hated 1977 as much as we hated 1991, and every year it's going to get better, and it really doesn't. I mean,
it's just different. It gets different. Every year it gets different, not better.
Right. I mean, it's either all of a sudden I got to go to work in a new spot, or they shut down my favorite restaurant, or who knows what the
we don't like change. We are not change agents. People are like, this is my rut, and I'm sticking in it. Right?
I'm sticking in it.
That's it.
Yep, I'm all good with my rut. That's
it. I'm happy with my rut. Just leave me alone in my personal rut. So the thing that I did this week was I've been communicating with our friends at Black Boar Armory and Coatings. They have Cerakoted a couple guns for DC Project that are amazing. So if you are thinking about having a gun Cerakoted, let me tell you, you really need to think about it, because it is great. Whether you use our friends at Black Boar Armory and Coatings in Garrettsville, Ohio, or you use somebody that's local to you, ask to see the quality of the work that they do, and then go for it, because it is tough, it is durable, and it makes a statement that you may want to make about your firearm, and it's kind of cool.
I seen where one of the guys had taken the backstrap and trigger guard off of their Ruger single action, and then had it Cerakoted in like a brass color, so it looked like it was a brass trigger guard and stuff.
Yeah,
it looked really good, well done, and then it fit right back on, so it wasn't anything special, because the original Ruger stuff you had to change the hammer and trigger and everything that goes with it. Yeah, so
that's kind of cool. I have a Henry 22 lever action rifle that for some reason, I have two, but for some reason one of them, the bluing that was on the lever action was thin, and so every fingerprint shows up. It just is not held up. So I'm thinking that I'm going to talk to my friendly neighborhood partner and gunsmith and have him disassemble it and send a couple pieces for some opportune color.
You have to figure out what color you want it, huh?
I know, but it's a great way to fix something where you're looking at it going, look at this little fingerprint.
You know, the funny part is sometimes they can just do it in a black or a blue, so it almost matches, so you don't even notice. So if you don't like Living Dangerous, you can just go back to what you had.
Right.
And if you like Living Dangerous, you can get it done in turquoise or purple or
some
pink
fun
or whatever.
some fun color. But it makes it preserves the firearm and makes it last longer. But you have one that has held up. Well, we'll just say you're not gentle with it.
I have a couple, but the one I carry all the time, and it was done in that Robinate blue color, or
Tiffany blue. Mm-hmm.
And it's I work on the car. I'm on the ground scruffing around and doing stuff, and it really just high spots where the holster rubs on it, rub through the.
But it's been a couple years of wear.
Right, it's probably going on 5 years of.
Okay. 5 years of wear. Yeah, it is a substantial amount before you actually get it. And think about it. Any gun that you were carrying would have wear there from that.
Right.
It's not just that.
But
it's
thing is, you
delicate.
can always take it back and have them touch it back up again too. So
it's pretty cool. So that is we're trying to give you guys some ideas of gifts to be able to do one for yourself, so you can drop a hint to say, oh, you don't have an idea for a gift for me for this year? How about a gift certificate to my friendly neighborhood Cerakoter? How about a book from the Pew Pew Jew? How about
or even just a regular book about what you like to collect, because it's nothing better than having a good reference book that shows you what those marks and the dates are and different things like this that you may need to know in that particular.
Right. And so that's something where you can pick it out, order it, and Amazon is your friend, and get that before the holidays, or contact one of the major book retailers and go there. At the bottom of the hour, we are going to have Firearms Legal and Firearms Legal Protection come on and talk about that, because that is also a gift that you can wait till close to the very last minute, gift it to somebody, because it is not something that you actually have to. You can give them a package, a letter, something in an envelope, and it's pretty simple. And so you can be like, oh, darn, I forgot Cousin Eddie. Let me see if I can help him out here, right? So there is that.
Usually my wife just goes into my room and she'll pull out like 10 boxes of ammo and gives it to brother-in-laws and stuff like this.
And you're like, hey.
Yeah, that was my good stuff. And all of a sudden it's
Stop. Don't even give my husband those hints, because he's like, where'd all this come from? Yeah. Stop it. I don't go out to your garage and give away your chainsaws and your tractors and stuff like that.
You got a couple of them. What difference?
Leave that alone. Absolutely leave it alone. But no, we want to give you some ideas, because it's the holiday season, and giving is one of, Jesus is the reason, but giving is a great.
They got no problem with spending money to buy a gun and bullets, but like when it comes to buying a scope or buying a bag or one of these scabbards for the rifle or something, it's like that's $50 or $60 that I don't want to take out of my donut money and.
Right, I'm saving for another gun. I don't want to necessarily have to spend hard for that.
It's kind of funny. It's like I look at this, I'm like, well, I don't really need it that bad, but I'll buy another gun without batting an eye.
Right. So our video producer says he needs a gift suggestion for Cousin It. I would think that a wall razor would be the gift that I would think about for that.
You definitely don't want one of those brass brushes, because it'll get caught up in his hair. So.
Exactly. So, I typically am cleaning guns between Christmas and New Year. So I want to know, what are you doing that week?
I don't know, because that's what I was looking. I got some that need some attention, and it's like I hate doing that.
I know. So maybe what you do, bring them over. We'll spread it out.
There should be a place where you can just go and drop your stuff off and run them to an auto car wash or something.
I don't know. I would think that. Yeah, does the local gun shop clean guns for?
I'm sure that the gunsmiths and gun shops clean your gun, but it's do you trust them to take it apart, put it back together, especially if it's going on 200 years old or something?
Yeah, probably not. Probably. Yeah. Hey, never seen one looks like this before. Okay, then step away. Step away from it. Yeah, because I've got some German stuff where they engraved the
the stars and the flowers and stuff on. All them screws have to line back up to make a
for the engraving. And so you got to start in exactly the right spot.
Right, it's not that this screw goes in that hole and this screw goes in this hole. You can't just put them in any old hole.
And you got to start them in exactly the right spot so that you're I don't know. I don't like cleaning them because there's a couple of my guns that I generally then have to leave in a pile and you have to put back together. Most of them I can handle 100%, but there's just a couple that are stubborn, and it's embarrassing.
It's funny when we had the gun shop, how many of the Ruger standard autos and that we used to get in gallon baggies. They bring it in and you have to.
Well, a gallon Ziploc bag is a great way for it to travel because you know that all the parts aren't getting loose. And a Ruger Mark II, Mark III, Mark I.
I've had guys bring in the.
We'll be back.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, we are back, and with us is Carmack the Magnificent telling us all about 22s, longs, 22 shorts, 22 long rifles. And I just want to say right now that one of my personal pet peeves is when somebody calls it I have a 22 long, and they don't really have a 22 long. They have a 22 long rifle, and they don't realize that there is a 22 long rifle and a 22 long, and they interchange them.
And it really confuses them when their 22 long rifle is in the pistol. So then all of a sudden now they really don't know what's going on.
Right.
But so it used to be...
Let's start at the beginning. And in the beginning, they started with what?
Well, they started with a percussion cap, and then Ely, the English company, made it into a CB/BB cap type arrangement. Then Smith & Wesson made it into a 22 short. So in 1856, they were working on converting it to this CB/BB cap to the 22 short that we know today. And actually, the Model 1 revolver was a 22 short, and so the best-dressed soldiers for the Civil War carried a 7-shot 22 short pistol in their pocket. So
now, isn't that amazing that the Civil War primarily was fought with that? I mean, with
58 caliber rifles and 22
pistols. It was either talk about the extremes.
Well, the big thing was the old style it takes me a minute flat to load my revolver from 1860 44. And to get to where I can shoot a shot out of it, the cartridge gun is so much faster and easier to manipulate. It was a winner right from the beginning. The short, like I say, started out in the 1850s. It went until about 1890, and Winchester brought out their brand new pump gun at that time in 1890, and they brought out the new 22 long cartridge to give it more power. In the meantime, there was other 22 cartridges. Like they had extra longs, and they had WRFs, they called them, which are Winchester rimfire. They're actually larger diameter, so they're like on the same size as the 22 Magnum is. The short, long, and long rifle are heel-type bullets, so the casing is the same 223 diameter that the bullet is. And it just has a little nub on the back that crimps it into the case to hold it. The Magnum WRF, that bullet actually fits down inside the case like an inside lubricated bullet, and then the case is larger diameter. So if you try to shoot longs or shorts in the Magnum, sometimes it will go off, but it splits the case and gives you some issues.
Right.
The long rifle cartridge came out in 1915 with the Stevens Favorite. So it was the long and the short. Basically, the case was longer, but the set used the same 29 grain bullet, and then the long rifle used a 40 grain bullet. So that was a big plus for power wise. In the meantime, there was a lot of other rimfires at the time, so you could get 32s and 30s and 28s and 25s and a lot of things like this. Most of that stuff went away at World War I.
Right, because
so
they realized
that
the case was so thin in places that it was...
and the guns were just little... Usually they were little cheap guns, so they just stopped making the ammo when they tooled up for the war, and then they never bothered to go back.
Okay, so when you're looking at a gun that was built between 1850 and 1915, it is, even if it says 22, it is not
it'll say 22 or 22 long, but it won't. But it doesn't shoot long rifles, and it especially doesn't shoot the modern high velocity stuff.
Right.
In 1931, they were looking to add some power, so they went to this high velocity. By then, smokeless powder. Around World War I, smokeless powder started making an advance. So they were black powder earlier. They went to what they call the less smoke powder, which was a mixture of smokeless and black powder, and then they just went right to smokeless powder altogether. A lot of people early on would tell you like the bullets would just clog up the barrel, and so then when you shot a shot, maybe the bullet would come out and be a foot long from all the lead it was dragging out with it.
Okay.
So you couldn't really hit anything, but it would knock down weeds and would do all kinds of different stuff. So the 22 was not nearly as accurate in the early days as it is today with the modern.
And the reason that it built up lead was it just wasn't moving fast enough?
Well, there wasn't much lubrication on the bullet. There was no coatings. Like today, most bullets are copper-plated or some kind of a Teflon coating or something to slide them down the barrel. Back in the day, it was just bare lead that was doing it. It's funny, back for you old people that used to go to shooting galleries, they used shorts, but they had graphite bullets in them. And so you'll find a lot of the old gallery guns, the barrels are shot out because graphite is a lubricant, but it's also an abrasive lubricant. So
it would just wear the barrel out with it. Okay.
But when they shot the metal targets, the graphite would just bust up in the dust, and so
it didn't shoot the booth behind them.
Right. So it didn't ricochet. It didn't do anything bad. A lot of people use those for hunting bullets too because they basically were frangible. They just exploded when they hit. So it was
okay. I just shot a squirrel with a pencil lead.
Right.
That would be it.
But I mean, I can remember when we were kids, we would go rat hunting with them, and you could shoot even close to the thing, and if you hit the brick wall, it would the fragments of the bullet would still get the rat because your marksmanship didn't have to be 100%.
And the farmer and his grain was grateful. So there is that. So I know that one time we were teaching a class, and there was a gal who came in with a gun, and it was a 22, and she wanted to shoot it, and she had 22 long rifles, and you're like, no, stop.
Right. Early Colt Woodsmans do not take high-speed ammo. They did sell a kit that you could put into them to make them take high-speed ammo. If you have one that's been sitting in a dresser drawer for 75 years, you might want to double-check to make sure that it's set up for high speed. Otherwise, it won't blow it up, but it'll beat it to death. And it's a shame that it made it this far and then have somebody chew it up with 2 or 3 boxes of bullets.
Right, because it's like 90 years old, and and the one that the gal brought to the class, it was absolutely pristine.
Right, it was a really first generation marksman gun with the elephant ear grips and stuff. It was definitely a showpiece.
It was beautiful.
The high standard automatic pistols were all set up for high speed ammo. So if you have a high standard, knock yourself out. They're good to go with the.
Okay. That's it. Paul's like, that's the long and the short of it. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to have Spencer Johnson from Firearms Legal, and we'll talk about more Christmas presents.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
Okay, we are back, and this is our interview segment. And since this is Christmas week, Preparedness Week, and I have with us Spencer Johnson from Firearms Legal Protection, because we're talking about different gifts that you can give to people, and this one is an absolute perfect gift that you can give, well, to yourself. You know, because we all know that when you're shopping for others, you're like, I need one of those. I can say that periodically I come home with as much for me as I come for others.
Might as well get two. They're small.
Right. I think they'll like this because I would like that. It's that kind of a thing. So Spencer, thanks for joining us on Eye on the Target Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me. How are you guys doing today?
We are doing fabulous. Well, I am. Rob's just, we'll see how Rob's doing here.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Like you were talking, Firearms Legal is definitely one of those great stocking stuffing gifts you can give this holiday.
Yeah, so tell people what Firearms Legal is and isn't.
We are a membership company, and we are not insurance, which is really, really good. So with the membership company, we're kind of like the gift that keeps on giving, right? You ever get into a self-defense incident involving any weapon or firearm, we're going to be there to help you every single step of the way. So if anything ever happens, you give us a call on our emergency hotline, and an attorney answers the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's very important because attorney-client privilege kicks in right away, and we're going to find out where you are and dispatch an attorney out to you right away.
Well, look at that. So have attorney will travel, kind of.
Yeah. I like to think of us kind of like the Jimmy Johns of attorneys. We're going to get there freaky fast for you.
There you go. Okay, that works. That definitely works.
Well, I mean, think about a lot of people don't have an attorney, or they definitely don't have the number handy and stuff. So this they would program into their phone or put it up, carry the card with them, and they have that.
And they're good, and they're ready to go, because at that point you're not thinking. And I know that Firearms Legal also will answer questions prior to an incident. So if you've got questions, the what ifs that every firearms instructor is peppered with, Firearms Legal, as a member of it, will answer those questions for people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just another benefit of being partnered with us, with being a member with us, I should say. You have free attorney consultation. As you know, firearms laws try to change every day, it seems like. Even out here in Michigan, they're trying to pass a 10-round magazine limit. So as things change, and especially with myself being an instructor, I want all of my students to be up to date on the current laws of what you can and can't do. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't speak lawyer even a little bit, so you can always reach out to us and get that free attorney consultation.
And that is a great thing. I mean, there's so many questions that people are like specific to them. What if this or what if that? Firearms Legal will help them with it.
The media doesn't help because they present a story like the law is already passed or something, and then all of a sudden you find out 3 months later that it didn't pass or nothing, and so you've been acting under the assumption that it was doing this when it's not doing that.
I don't know how many texts that you have gotten, Rob, in the last couple weeks. Ohio is on the verge of passing constitutional carry. And in that, it passed the House and then it passed the Senate, but it was two different bills. Right, so people are like, oh, well, it's done. Well, no, they have to consolidate the bill and then they have to take it to the governor. So right now the news keeps inferring that it is it's a done deal. And it's not done. So people can easily get in trouble by listening to and following what they thought the news was telling them.
They did the same thing with the knife laws a couple months back too, where they thought it was passing and then it wasn't, and that's the news will get you in trouble if you don't pay attention and check your bases.
Absolutely. The news and Facebook is like the tell-all place. Everybody on Facebook has a law degree, it seems like. So that's definitely one of the worst places to get information. So just having an attorney at your fingertips, whether it's an emergency or just needing a simple question answered, all of that is included with being with us.
And that's great. So I know that you guys have made a couple changes. Well, and it's not really that you've made a couple changes. It's that this is ever changing, ever improving, ever increasing, where you say, this is a good idea. Maybe we ought to offer this. And you keep updating and upping your game. So I understand that expungements are something that you've now added to your toolkit.
I get a lot of calls about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, when we first started, we just want to be the best of the best all-around product that we can possibly be, even beyond, providing an attorney, paying all the fees. As we deal with cases and we start seeing members having similar problems, we just want to be able to upgrade our product to accommodate them. So now if you ever go through a situation where you defend yourself and they try to add something on your record, even though you're found not guilty, to prohibit you from purchasing a firearm or obtaining a CPL or a CCW, we're going to get our attorneys on the case to make sure that we expunge everything off your record so you can still get new firearms and make sure you can get your CPL or CCW.
Okay, so a question is, what if somebody's got something already on their record that needs expunged? Do they have to be a member for a while? Do they have to have that expunged before they become a member? What is that? Because otherwise, you could join, get it expunged, and then sayonara, see ya, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So, something would have to happen while you were already being a member with us.
Okay, I was curious about that because I could just see that being taken advantage of.
Oh yeah, we would have the highest cancellation rate ever.
Right, and the highest legal fees, all associated with that. But it is great because there's so many times if you're a member and something happens and it's like it really isn't the way that you were. I mean, look at the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. It really wasn't the way that it was charged. It was a whole different thing. And so understanding those types of things.
Well, when you get the trial by Facebook is...
There you go. Trial by social media. Right, because it's all the lawyers who live in their own mom's basement, and they are going to, they're all going to have an opinion because their cousin's brother's dentist's lawyer or something
did this before.
Mm-hmm.
They got a law degree from Wikipedia.
I'm telling you, my medical degree from Wikipedia does not impress my doctor. So I'm pretty sure my law degree is not going to impress them.
Oh, you should see my medical degree from
it's
Foxfire
scary.
books.
I don't think your law degree nor your medical degree.
My doctor's like, I never even heard of that.
Stay away. Stay away. So Spencer, it is Firearms Legal, and it's firearmslegal.com.
Yes.
So they can go to firearmslegal.com and they can check it out. They can look at it. But you guys have been around for a while, and you are available in all 50 states, or are there some states you're not available in? Because our show is national, and so we want to make sure that everyone listening, wherever they're listening, has an idea that it is available to them.
Yeah, we cover all 50 states, and January 1 we'll be able to sell in all 50 states.
Okay, look at that. So they can be all primed and ready to go. That is amazing. So now you guys have also periodically as we said, you improve things, you add things. So you have changed the amount that you will pay for an expert witness or an expert investigator. From what to what?
Yep. So it was a total of $5,000 together we will cover for an expert investigator and an expert witness. And, as time went on, we just want to make sure we didn't want to have people to have to choose between. So we made it available that we cover up to $10,000 for the expert investigator and up to another $10,000 for the expert witness, just to make sure that our member has all the coverage they can possibly need.
Okay, so what would you need an expert investigator for?
So you have somebody go to the scene of the crime, the scene of the incident, I should say. Do different things like interview witnesses, check the camera, dig deep for you, social media dive-throughs, and just have as much evidence that we need to be able to prove that you've done everything the right way.
Well, if you look at that Rittenhouse case, the one movie they were showing was the
final video?
The fuzziest one they could get their hands on, and then they finally showed the clear one that actually showed what the real story was.
So the quality of the video, even just knowing what is available for you to see for your defense.
So it was worth having an expert investigator on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be the difference between a guilty and a not guilty verdict.
It really can. So we're getting ready to head for a commercial break, and I don't want to ask the big deep questions that say that we're going into more stuff before we go into that. But you offer a variety of memberships, and when we come back from the commercial break, we're going to talk about the differences in the different membership packages, because I want people to understand that there is a price point of a variety of price points available to you to be able to support and to gift.
If you call in, do you get the same guy every time? So if you call in one time and then you got a question that's continuing, can you get back to that guy that you were dealing with the first time?
That's a great question. When we come back, Spencer's going to know that answer. He's going to have looked it up, or he's going to know it. And we're going to talk about the pricing so that you have an idea. And I'm going to say, you're supposed to be listening to our sponsors, but firearmslegal.com, you can be perusing while you're listening. We'll be right back.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough? Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, we are back, and with us we have Spencer Johnson from Firearms Legal Protection, and we're talking about why Firearms Legal Protection and why legal protection is critical to the concealed carry holder, and then why considering Firearms Legal Protection. One of the things is they are not insurance, and in some states, firearms insurance is called murder insurance. And they do not allow it.
If you buy insurance, then you're premeditated.
That you're planning on something like that. So this is a club. This is a network. This is a group, and so all your friends kind of chip in together to support one another. That's sort of the concept of how it works. Only it's got a preset series of pricing for the chip-in, we'll say, so that, you know, everybody doesn't get pizza if you don't pay the per slice price kind of thing. So, Spencer, let's start with the question. If you call and you ask an attorney a question and it's not completely answered, they will get back to you, or you can have access to that attorney. How's that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll put you in contact with an attorney from your state. Most of the time,
From your
it'll
calendar,
be via
Holly
email.
Sullivan,
That way, you can
is coming up
keep
tomorrow.
a record of, you know, the laws and exactly what we're saying, so we don't get any words twisted or anything like that.
From your
He'll
calendar,
keep access
Holly
to that email
Sullivan,
thread, and he'll be in
PSP,
contact
is coming
with
up
that same
tomorrow.
attorney who you've been dealing with.
There you go. So that you can keep working with the
right,
same
and
one.
it's always best to have it in writing instead of she said or he said.
I thought I heard.
Yeah, especially with the cell phone service being spotty everywhere you go nowadays. A yes can sound like a no, and everybody's in trouble.
Well, what I think about is once you get into 3 turns on directions, you're like, I don't remember where the first turn was. And everybody's had somebody tell you, you go 3 miles, turn at the greenhouse, do this, do that, and do that. And then pretty soon it's like, where are you going? I don't know. What they say. I don't remember. So having it in writing.
Yep, I'm following you. That's
exactly. I mean, direction-wise, I just say the magic box. The magic box tells me where to go. I don't have to know. So having it written down. But okay, so let's talk price. What is a membership? What is a basic membership to Firearms Legal?
Yeah, so a few different states have different prices, but for the majority right now, the basic membership is $9.95 a month or $109 for the year. And what that entails is literally $10 a month. You get a peace of mind. And you have an attorney in your back pocket 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Uncapped attorney fees. You have access to our app. You can actually ask the legal questions and talk to an attorney through the app. You can call the emergency hotline through the app. You can see updated firearms laws through the app. And every single one of our plans that we have covers red flag laws.
Look at that. And we're seeing more and more of them happening.
So is there a payment plan, or you have to have the $109 in one chunk?
Either $109 annually or $9.95 a month.
Okay, I just wondered if they could have their card billed every month or something, or if you guys.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, you just put your card. Give
Some
us the
people
card
don't
information on
think
file.
a whole year ahead to.
Well, there is that kind of thing. So you could just make the payments, and there's a discount if you mention Rob and I. So I on the Target Radio. So EOTT. There is in addition there is a discount available to you. So it makes it even a little sweeter. That sweeten that pot.
And you get to get locked in at the rates you have today. So, for example, let's say our family plan 5 years ago, it was $12 cheaper. But since then, we've added bail bonds and a whole bunch of other things, and you get locked in and grandfathered into the benefits that we've added.
Wasn't that amazing? So, so now you say, so the basic plan is $10 a month, $9.99. So the next level up is the family plan, or is there something? What else is there? What options?
So the next plan is the premium individual plan, and what this plan does, it covers you in all 50 states. We use local attorneys only. Same thing, we pay for the attorney fees uncapped. This one has your bail bond covered up to $250,000. This one covers the expert witness and investigators up to $10,000 each. We cover the cleanup, lost wages up to $2,500 because everybody has bills. I'm a very big mental health advocate, so we pay for counseling fees as well. And one of my favorite things that we do cover is your firearm confiscation. So if you get, I'm not even going to say when you get your firearm confiscated, if you don't get it back within 365 days, we cut you a check up to $1,000 to replace that firearm.
Okay, there you go. So you can get a new one that looks like that. So so what is the cost of the premium program for an individual?
This one is $21.95 a month.
Okay, $21.95 a month for the premium program. That is great. Then you can roll into the family plan. And so how many people are covered? They have to live in your residence. They have to. What are the rules?
Yep. So the family premium, this one covers you and your significant other and any minors in the household that you have legal guardianship over, or they're your children. Everybody is covered in that household that is a minor that you have legal guardianship over. And a lot of people look at me crazy. Well, why do I need my 12-year-old to get covered? Why do I need my 13-year-old to get covered? And the way I explain it, I've been dealing with firearms for, since I was 12 years old. My father taught me how to use them. If anything were to ever happen, when I was home alone, I knew how to protect the household. I will be covered just like my parents would be. Or let's say the children witnessed a parent having to use a firearm, who needs counseling in that case.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's a traumatic circumstance. It's a traumatic experience. So what is the cost of the family plan?
That one is $38.95 a month. And one thing I also like to add to with the family plan, I know everybody watches the news. There's a lot of little girls going missing and sex trafficking rings. Depending on your state, if you can legally have like some pepper spray or something like that, I make my nieces carry it. And if they ever have to use it, they can, face maybe civil charges. FLP still covers the minors as well.
Okay.
Well, lately in the news, you're seeing a lot of where, like, the mom was being attacked, and the 14-year-old or the 12-year-old actually come to the rescue and shot the guy in the face or whatever the story happens to be.
Right. So a juvenile is defending someone who is under attack, and so you're seeing those stories.
Right.
Yeah. You really are.
Absolutely. And the news wants to say, "Oh yeah, well the minor protected the parents," and that's all you see. But as everybody on this call knows, it doesn't just be a pat on the back, a high five, a good job. It's a lot more legality that goes into that.
There is, there truly is a lot more to it. So if somebody goes to sign up, how hard is it to sign up? How much information do you need? How long does it take? Let's walk us through it, because if people are thinking about it, I want them to understand the full experience. Is there a lot of hard questions? Do you need to know which guns we have? All of that.
Oh, not at all. This is the easiest thing to do. Go in there, put your first and last name if you're doing the family plan, do your significant other's first and last name, email address, phone number, and put your credit card info in there. And then at the end of it, they'll ask for a promo code. You guys put your EOTT promo code in there. You get the discount, you get locked in, and you're literally covered as soon as you submit that payment. Before you even get your cards in the mail, you are covered. We'll send you out a welcome pack. You'll get your membership card and a whole bunch of other things in that welcome pack that's very useful.
Okay. So, they make it as simple as possible. So think about this as a Christmas gift, and I'm not trying to downsell you. I'm going to say, though, that you can get somebody the $9.95 individual membership, and they can upgrade if they want to. You can get them started. You can know that they're protected, and then they can go from there. If it's your family, you can, you buy one for them. You might as well buy for you, and then get it so it's all set up together. So I want to say, Spencer, periodically I want you to come back, because people are texting me questions. We are out of time, but we will...
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
to ride. Standing in the station, ready to step inside. All you can see, something that you do, was red as the future was waiting for you. Train rolls in the station, you cannot make a move. Something inside you gives you heat, and then you know it's true. Is the fog lifting, or is it in your mind? You stand frozen as time unwinds. On the platform, you can weep and moan, or you can reach your hand up and stop standing alone. Let them take your hand as you lift your face. Rise and take your place.
Operator, stand by.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Hey folks, we are back, and let's talk a little bit about constitutional carry. There are several states that are working on constitutional carry that go to the governor, get rejected. The House, the Senate have to work through them again to see if there's something that they can do. So Pennsylvania, we thought, was on the precipice, and then the governor vetoed it. Ohio has passed it in the House. They passed a different version in the Senate. So they started two bills at the same time, worked their way through. Those bills are not exactly the same. So both are signed, or both are passed now. So they're going to...
I think it won't take them too long to get their stuff together.
They're going to a bipartisan committee to kind of consolidate them to see if they can come up with a working solution to pop back to both the House and the Senate. And I fully intend, or fully expect, that our governor will sign it because he is in a challenge primary with a couple other candidates.
Sometimes, though, like because we're at the end of the year, they start, say, like from the 131st Congress to the 132nd Congress. I don't know how that timeline goes, because sometimes it can...
they run out the clock before...
Right, and then they have to start at
over.
square one and work your way. So if they were all basically reignited,
the whole thing is renewed starting at the first of the year. But I don't know. There's still a chance.
If there's a lot of new people in the
there's still a chance that Ohio will see it before the end of the year, because they really kind of push that. And then there's one more state that I can't remember. It begins with an A and it's in the South. So it's Alabama, Arkansas, one of those guys down there that travels together. I don't know. So sorry, I'm not as informed as, or I was informed, but it didn't stick.
Slipped out of my head there.
It just didn't stick. It didn't stick.
I didn't see even a news story about that, so it didn't show up in my news feed.
Yeah, it is. They're working on it though. Let's talk again. There's a really interesting article by Dean Weingarten in AmmoLand, and he made a point that I had really never thought about. So it's Alabama is so I've got people, and those people are on the ball for me, so that if I don't have the memory for it, I've got people who are like, let me just feed that to you. I feel like Joe Biden right now. It's coming in the teleprompter.
I don't have to know it all. I just have to know who does.
Just whisper in my ear, and we're all good to go. So now, Dean Weingarten in this article on AmmoLand is talking about gun buybacks and what happened in Illinois, but he had this point is that gun turn-in events, his words, gun turn-in events are making a small comeback in the United States. Most of them are occurring in states where private sales are not allowed by law. That is brilliant, because I've never really kind of connected the two. They're not occurring in states which require the valuable property to be sold for the public benefit. And they are not happening in states where if somebody has a gun that they don't want, that they can easily, no questions asked, sell it to someone else. There's all these restrictions, which means that private purchasers cannot buy. We're in the line for most of the gun buybacks.
Some of the places, the guys come in and buy ahead of the front door so that they pay more money than the buyback was, and they're getting the stuff. And then also there's other states where when they get stuff back, whether they buy it back or they confiscate it or whatever, it's in their bylaws that they have to actually sell it. And we've seen some of that years ago. I believe it was Katie, one of the 60 Minutes ones, had bought a gun or something, and then she turned it into the police because she wanted it off the street. But the their thing was that they had to sell it at public auction, and so it went back on the street
well,
again.
Well, the good news is that the news program then funded a program within the police department because they did that. But yeah, so it's really interesting. In the events that happen, if you have to have a FOID card to be able to buy or sell a gun. So think about this. You have to have a FOID card to be able to sell a gun. Yet here's the police or a private organization saying no questions asked.
Right, just put it in a plastic bag, bring it in, and we'll give you
money. So now I have a dirty gun that I can't sell because it'll be traced to me, that I can take and give to the police, no questions asked.
See, had Hunter Biden done that with his gun, then it wouldn't.
Instead of throwing it in the hotel trash can there?
It would have worked out better for him.
It would have worked out way better for him. Exactly. Yeah. So all of that stuff is happening.
Some of these are starting to, they want ammunition. They'll take ammunition and stuff like this. It's kind of funny because you can tell the people who are doing this don't know what's going on. They're buying BB guns. They buy broken guns. There was
and
one
they're
where
giving
the guy
$25 for ammunition. So I've got a box of 22s.
I seen the guy was buying, or was trying to, he made a gun out of pipe fittings. He went to the hardware store, bought pipe fittings.
And 2x4s, I saw that
right,
one.
And they made him prove that it would actually work before they would buy it from him. But
and it did, because he's smart enough to make that work.
But this one here that they're talking about in Illinois, they got 8 air guns and some antique guns and some other stuff that
right. So it really is, but it's virtue signaling at its absolute highest point here. Because if you really wanted to get guns off the street, you would prosecute criminals.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is we need to look at this in a different manner. You can see that the Second Amendment is not going anywhere. I mean, it's on the.
They want to rewrite it. They want to reinterpret it.
Right, but it's not going anywhere. So
okay.
and the Supreme Court is actually right on the edge of
this whole Bruin
doing
story.
some new definitive answers as to what it means.
Bruin, right? Yeah.
Well, they're. The part that throws them for a curveball is part of it says about the militia, and then part of it says that it shall not be infringed. And so now they go with what is the sporting purpose and
right. They keep adding definitions that you have to meet another this hurdle, that hurdle, the other hurdle.
Right, in common use and sporting purpose and all this stuff, when none of that is written in any of the laws.
In the 27 words that is the Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment. Oh, and we just passed the anniversary of passing the Second Amendment, and so it has a birthday on December 15th. I didn't know it had a birthday, and I was like, how did I not know?
Some of it is where they try to say that the Second Amendment is locked in time. So when they were talking about Charleville muskets or Brown Bess or something like this, that's as far into the future as you can go. But yet the First Amendment covers computers and television and all of this stuff.
Right. So one of our listeners wants to know if there's a laptop buyback program, no questions asked. Is there an easy way to get rid of...
I wish I was local to one of these buybacks because I have a real POS that needs to go. And
no, you have more than one.
But it's
I'm just going to say.
This has virtually no value in parts, yet, and it's dangerous if it just was released out on the street. So I have to hold it hostage for the rest of my time with a tag that says don't
do not shoot it because the barrel will come unraveled and bad things will happen.
You'll be eating the bolt or whatever it is.
Something, all of those. Right, you know enough to know.
Apparently, I'm going to have to just cut it in pieces so that it can't.
Well, wait. Maybe there'll be a gun buyback in a state that you can drive to. Do you have to show your? No questions asked. Do you have to show your driver's license?
Right.
Look at it. It could be a funding program. If you took all the useless, we'll just say garbage that you own, you could probably fund the remainder of your daughter's college career.
Right. Well, but it's, some of that stuff actually has some hidden value that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect. We're 100% correct on wouldn't expect. I know somewhere in your stories there is a story about the Second Amendment, and there's a politician who's trying to redefine the Second Amendment. So they came back to say that we don't need more gun laws because we can just, and I've got to see if I can remember who it was that said it. We don't need new gun laws. We can just redefine the Second Amendment. And it's like, you are completely out of your mind. And the
maybe it was in this one here where
I don't think so. I don't think it was
they talk about common use, and they're saying that the term common use is utterly irrelevant in the constitutionality of the
There is that. Cam Edwards from Bearing Arms is such a deep thinker that it is always great to read his articles. It's always great to see what Bearing Arms has to say. But I know it's in your pile of research somewhere. We'll find it, and we'll talk about it when we come back. So stay tuned. You're listening to Eye on the Target Radio with Rob and Amanda, and we'll be right back after the commercial.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, we are back, and it always amazes me that with all the social media, all the social media stuff, everybody is sending me different links and stuff saying, is this the story you're talking about? Is that the story you're talking about? And so during the commercial break, I'm researching.
As you're sifting through, we could talk about car arms. If you're looking for something for Christmas, you could get something that's pretty, like a silver-plated Tommy gun or a World War II style M1 carbine or a 1911 pistol or
all of those kinds of things. I mean, you can't go wrong. You absolutely.
If you're looking for a nice concealed carry pistol, they have a lot of the PM and CW style. They call them the polymer framed striker fired guns that are very slim and compact.
I think that's the amazing part is how slim they are, because so many of the guns are really, really bulky, and then when they start to make a smaller gun, they just get tiny everywhere. And a car arms, it gives you a mid-sized gun, but they've slimmed it down so it's very
Some
skinny.
of them actually they have different length grips depending on what size of hand you have. And if you go to like a PM, which is polymer micro, like a 380, it's amazing how small the thing actually is, and they're very dependable. I mean, we have a couple that we shoot quite a bit, and they're not at all picky about ammo or anything.
They are not. And you and I were sitting the one day, and I pulled my gun out, and we were recording a video, and I actually ended up. So I fired at the target, and then I fired at the target, and then I fired at the target, and then the fourth time I lifted my head and I fired at the target and could see a second hole. And then you were like, why'd you lift your head up? Because the first three were in the same hole. And I was like, well, I didn't know where they went, right? I could only see one hole. And that's where...
They have a double action trigger pull, so it's a long trigger pull.
But it's smooth.
And then that precludes them needing a safety, actually, externally. And then it's a nice smooth trigger, so you can easily control it to put the shots where you want them. And it's a good quality firearm that lasts for, I guess they call it heirloom quality.
Heirloom quality.
Hand it down to the kids when
exactly. They could be like, why did Dad beat this gun up so badly?
They have their big BFR, biggest, finest revolver. It's a giant thing in 45-70. I believe it comes in 30-30, 444 Marlin, a couple different calibers. And it's a...
And
some
our
of them,
video producer wants a Desert Eagle so bad he can taste it.
Right, when you see the ones they have laid out for their shows, like they'll be all like poly stainless steel with white plastic grips. It looks like the old ivory style grips and that, or they'll be engraved with a pattern or something. And
I'm telling you, and whoever they have, and that does their designing, some of the stuff that they've done with their bomber art or the Victory Girls.
That BFR with the octagon barrel, and then it has like a checkerboard engraving pattern on it. It's actually very pretty.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. So if you have not been to car.com lately, just to check out what they have, because
more than a gun, it's a work of art.
Well, there's that, and they are the parent company for multiple companies that those names. They are all fine quality, and the names.
Right. So Tommy Gun, Auto Ordnance, the
Magnum Research.
Magnum Research, and the car arms itself. So.
Yeah. So George wants a BFR. I'm telling you, can you have one of those in California? That would be the question, because there's the want, and then there is the restrictions in your state.
I think somebody on one of the YouTube things had had one. It was in the new 450 Bushmaster caliber. So they're apparently making a bunch of different new calibers.
Oh, maybe
I'm not up on the.
There you go.
I know the Desert Eagle comes in the new 429 calibers too, so it gets them away from the 50 down to a 44 caliber gun that keeps them California compliant, I think.
They're thinking about you. They are thinking about. It's a different way to skin a cat, as they pass laws that say you can't have this. It's like, oh, we'll just change that, and it'll then be available to you. There you go. So, what is going on this Maryland ban? Well,
it's funny because we talked to Alan Gottlieb last week, and he was saying there was some stuff on the horizon, and so the Supreme Court has accepted the challenge to look at the Maryland ban on assault weapons, and
have they, or they're just asking if they will? So Cam Edwards' headline says, "Will they accept it?" The SAF is saying, ask them to accept it. I think it's a media push to get all of us involved in saying, please.
Right, because some of the lower courts have been, they took out the phrases in common use and sporting purpose and stuff like this, even though that's the standard they hold us to, whether they're importing something or trying to build something new that's like on the, I don't know what you'd call it, the gray area of the law.
The ATF's gray area? Right. It's not this and it's not that, so it must be wrong. That's what it must be.
Right. And it's kind of funny because Miller versus the United States in 1939, he was used a sawed-off shotgun and was captured and made a example of. And the Supreme Court at the time,
Supreme Court, right?
They said that because the military did not use sawed-off shotguns at that time, that he had no standing in it being covered under the Second Amendment, which the military uses a lot of sawed-off shotguns today.
And they probably used them then, they just didn't say that.
Right, and it's funny because some of the stuff is in Heller. It talks about the useful and military service is part of the dividing factor, and they're saying that that's so wide open that it actually nearly all firearms can be useful in military service. So they're expecting this is going to have to go to the Supreme Court, and
and then the question is, will the Supreme Court accept it? But right now, everything is kind of on hold until we hear what Supreme Court's going to do.
And some of the stuff they actually want them to hold it over until the New York versus Bruin thing, because that way they can remand it back to the lower court and let them make it right. And
it's the Second Amendment's not gonna disappear, and that is really one of the things that
says the Second Amendment's not going to disappear, and you cannot allow guns to be banned based on cosmetics or color.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Rangemaster certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Okay, so we are back, and I'm going to tell you, some of our social media folks are just hysterical. So while the commercial break's going on, there's little messages that come across, and it says guns should be judged by the content of their hearts and not by the color of their finish. In respect to the Alan Gottlieb story, but maybe it should be judged by the content of their hardware and not by the color of their finish, right? Something like that. So it's just adorably cute. So thanks. I love the witticisms. So
let's do this one first.
Okay. So which one? We are going to talk about Governor Newsom.
It's funny because the Texans have set the liberal left's hair on fire about
okay.
Abortion law.
Okay.
And so it's gone all the way to the Supreme Court, and it was kind of funny because super flash, they took it in November, made a decision by December 8th about what they were going to say about it. So Newsom using that logic,
Newsom, which is California's governor, is
right?
Using
He's using the Supreme Court's logic on this, is saying he can write a Second Amendment law that's going to cover all the spots, and it will not offer any protection to the Second Amendment, which California doesn't have a Second Amendment protection in their Constitution, where most other states do.
Mm-hmm.
So he may be able to get away with it in California, but it won't go too much farther due to the fact that most other states have almost a duplicate word-for-word reading of what the federal
right.
Constitution part of it
they've reiterated it or reworded it and reiterated
right.
it or reinforced it.
But it's funny. He's trying to pull a fast one on everyone, and some of it has to do with where they're going to allow citizens to sue gun manufacturers, even if they were not involved in any of the goings on. So
right. So if they know of somebody, their cousin's doctor's lawyer or something,
they've seen it, they see it on the news. They can just
sue, right?
get a lawsuit going. So their goal is to actually sue the gun companies out of business. So pay attention to that, folks.
So can the gun companies just say, I'm not going to sell into California and your laws don't apply to me?
I don't know if their commerce laws would allow that, but they could also, I mean, they could say that they just don't have any products, so there won't be any, or there'll be very few pieces moved into that neighborhood due to the fact that they just sell it in other parts of the country.
Right. Guess what? It's a supply chain issue, and we've got no supply for your chain.
Since the whole country has a supply chain issue right now, it's easy to cover that. And it's like Barrett would allow them. You could buy Barrett guns in California. He just would not do any warranty work or sell parts to the police and government agencies for.
So
if they wanted parts, they had to buy them from a secondary source, and it wasn't the Barrett Firearm Company.
So there's that. But if you are in California, pay attention to your governor, because not all Californians are anti-gun, yet their legislature believes that it is.
And it's kind of funny because you vote all the time. I mean, every couple of years you got to vote on major players in the government, but yet they continually vote the same people back in. Is that something to do with allowing illegals, or is it the fact that the gun-owning people don't pay attention, or they're not interested?
Well, there's a lot of the liberal
Some
gun
of it
club.
too is if you look at the size of Los Angeles by itself versus the rural areas of California.
It's
there's
overwhelmed.
almost there's more people in L.A. than there is in the whole rest of the state.
So there is that, and then there is it is the home of the liberal gun club, and they really believe that they can talk Second Amendment issues to the extreme liberal left and get them to pay attention to it, and that's not. Well, it doesn't seem to be working. We'll just put it
I see in other parts of the country, not necessarily California, but other parts of the country are looking at where they have a city that overpowers the countryside. They're looking at possibly giving each county area, or however they split the thing up, and
they give them
one vote. So your people get to say, we pick this guy, but you get one vote versus another county. And
that's why the Electoral College is so critical, as opposed to this thing where it's just the popular vote.
Right,
the
so that's the thing.
popular vote can really.
So the states are looking at possibly something on the order of the Electoral College that it gives each county one say, instead of just letting one county that's overpopulated rule everything in the whole.
That would be an interesting change in the whole election process.
Well, you see some of it too. I see in California they were looking at changing the. Like they got California and New California, where they were going to split off some of the coastline to be one.
Right, and then the conversation was: are they going to make it 2 Californias or 3 Californias? Because they want to.
The big problem you have with that is normally the Democrats will not allow that to happen due to the fact that each one of those do get a new Senate. They get a new senator. And so if you're putting in a pro-gun area and they get 2 senators, it's not a good thing. If they're getting a anti-gun senator, then
they may consider it.
Then they may consider it.
Right.
But if the law right away is going to be conservative in that sector, they don't want that opportunity for that to split off from there. And then also too, congressmen are set up by They originally set it up so that every certain amount of population got their own congressman, and then somewhere online it got hijacked and they limited it out at 435.
So they said 435, and then they divide it evenly there, and so they each get to represent.
Now if you get a new area, now they're going to borrow 2 senators or 2 congressmen from some other place.
Well,
and so they don't want to take a chance on losing.
No, what would happen was the congressman would stay in the district because it's by population. So that state would lose congressmen. And so old California, if they had old California, new California, would lose, half of its congressmen.
But there's, because of the fact that there's more people here versus there, you may end up pulling one off of that area.
They're already set by people or by states, so it wouldn't be.
As long as everything went down their gerrymandering guideline thing instead of.
Yeah, we're going down that path. And let me tell you, if you're not paying attention to how everything is redistricted right now, you're not paying attention, because the census wasn't necessarily complete. Yet in a lot of states, they had constitutional requirements that they had to have things done by a certain time. So you are going to see districting and redistricting, and it's typically done for 10 years. Now in Ohio, it's going to be done for 4 years. There's all kinds of stuff going on and happening.
We'll keep changing things till we like it the way it is instead of
something. So it's like, okay, we're talking politics, but those politics have they're instrumental in what happens with the Second Amendment, what happens with guns, what happens with the ability to. It's all a game to some people, and it is very convoluted, and it is 3D chess, and yeah, it's kind of interesting there.
Here's a couple who are, I guess they're charged with illegally trafficking firearms into New Jersey.
Well, the interesting part is when you start to see this. This was a press release put out by the ATF, and then it was published in AmmoLand with a comment from Freddie Real. But so the South Carolina couple made an initial court appearance today on charges of trafficking firearms into New Jersey, and so they were arrested for it. So last name of Bowers and Williams, both of Newberry, South Carolina, were arrested in November and charged by complaint with conspiracy to deal firearms without a license, dealing firearms without a license, dealing firearms without a license, transferring firearms to an out-of-state resident. And Bowers was additionally charged with unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition by a convicted felon. So you start out.
We talk about that laws keep honest people honest,
right,
but criminals don't pay attention.
So he's already.
As long as dollars are involved, right, if you've got enough of these dollars, you could buy anything you want at any place that you want.
Well, the thing is okay, so he was a convicted felon. She was not. She's along with him. So the two of them are now their own version of Bonnie and Clyde, headed from South Carolina to New Jersey, where they're going to make money selling into New Jersey, which has fairly restrictive firearms laws. And so they. The ATF later discovered that the recovered firearms were purchased by Williams in South Carolina before they were subsequently recovered by law enforcement in New Jersey. And one of the firearms was at the scene of a shooting, another was recovered from a juvenile, and the third was recovered from a convicted felon. So we'll just say upstanding citizens were buying guns on the black market.
I wonder if they could use Eric Holder's lawyer, possibly get him off of that, because it sounds like the same story he was using for running guns to Mexico.
Mexico, right? The interesting thing is that they're facing 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. They were each released on a $25,000 unsecured bond.
Well, that sounds about right.
So there you go. You're facing a fine of up to 10 times more, but we're going to let you go because you're going to come back because you're an honest, upright citizen who was selling guns on the black market. You were a convicted felon. You were selling them to convicted felons and to juveniles and people who weren't allowed to own guns. This is the spot where if there are gun laws and we are gun owners, we want those laws enforced or taken off the books. But it's not a second set of rules for someone else and a different set for me who follows the rules.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Sefcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.IamTheTargetRadio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.IamTheTargetRadio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit ProjectChildSafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, we are back. And I periodically, our research is kind of unique, but I periodically pull a story just to hand to Rob to see if he will dig it to the top or if he will sort it out and leave it laying on the table. And he dug this one right to the top. So it's from Buckeye Firearms. And the headline says, in some parts of New York State, you can find guns more easily than you can find an apple, which is a quote from the New York Attorney General. And we know that name. We know her, which is Letitia James. And she is the gal who is out to take down the Second Amendment in taking down the NRA. She wants to pull the NRA and pull their 501c3 and be famous for it, and then she wants to be the governor of New York. That she has political aspirations. There is no doubt about it.
The big thing you look at this stuff is that you can see that guns are not the issue across the country. I mean, some places have high crime with guns, and some places have no crime with guns. And the problem that they have is that these high crime with gun areas are usually the same guys over and over again. They catch them, they release them. They have.
Or you mean somebody who's going to be facing a $250,000 fine, and they let him out for $25,000.
Right,
and by the way, they're selling guns on the black market, which means they probably have $25,000 in a pile somewhere.
Well, they probably didn't have to pay $25,000. They paid whatever 10% to their bail bondsman, and now Dog the bounty hunter is looking for them because they're not coming back. But
right, because they went back to the Carolinas. See ya. We're going to go into witness protection.
But the same thing is going on in New York and Chicago and Boston and all of these places.
Right.
And it's the criminal stupid. That's what's
happening.
And,
well, did you see the article? And I don't know that I printed it. You may not have seen it because I didn't print it for you. That the state of Ohio, actually Akron has gone in and said, we have figured out that we can cut crime if we actually go after the criminal.
Right.
And so the Akron and their crime rate, their numbers are dropping because they are actually going after the criminal and not the law-abiding. And so,
if you look at like Texas, where the people handle it outside of the police, and they usually just shoot the guy a couple of dozen times, and that causes them not to come back to that neighborhood.
there is something like that. Well, let's go back to New York. So Letitia James said that guns, you can find a gun more easily than you can find an apple. So the author of this article from Buckeye Firearms did his research and said the New York Apple Association has a Find Apple search feature on their website, just in case you wanted to find an apple.
Right, and the U.S. Apple Association, who knew there was one,
right? Yeah.
They say that out of the 32 states that grow apples commercially, New York State is the second largest producer of the fruit in the country. And last year they made 1,385,000,000 pounds of apples.
And so if you look at it, and those of us who are frequent apple buyers realize that you get 4 to 5, depending on the size, apples per pound. So when you look at this to say that there's somewhere around 5 billion apples, unique, discrete apples in the state of New York before they travel out via truck, then that means that New York's got a lot.
I've never been to New York during apple season, but I've been to Florida during orange season, and at any intersection you could pick up a couple thousand oranges without a problem.
If a truck is turning,
a truck makes the turn, it's like this avalanche of oranges and grapefruits.
Right. So I think she did both the gun owners and the Apple
Association
a disservice with this story. It's really.
She'll change it to broccoli or asparagus or something.
I don't know. Peas. Maybe peas, because peas are little and there's a lot of them. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it needs to be big things so that she could, like watermelons, because then you get multiple. And
I think those are grown in the South too. So
probably not New York. What is giant-sized, heavy, and grown in New York? That would be
politicians in New York City.
That would be the question of the day. I'm pretty sure that my text line is going to light up based on that. Because somebody's going to send me, is Chris Christie New York or New Jersey?
In New Jersey.
Oh, then it was close.
It was,
so, I'm just,
pound for pound, New Jersey wins. But
exactly. I'm just saying. Oh, man. Okay. You are cracking me up. So I am so glad you.
It's not politically correct for me to be bullying these guys online.
I'm just okay. We're there, but I just thought it was. I thought it was a good story, and I think your take on it is hysterical. Let's talk about this guy.
You've all seen the ads on your Facebook and everything where you could buy an oil filter that looks nothing like an oil filter.
That's sold by Wish or one of those places that is.
the local ATF guy delivers it to your home.
And it looks like it's a shush device as opposed to an oil filter, even though it says oil filter, wink, wink,
So
wink.
then, and a couple months ago, there was a big thing where somebody was selling the plastic piece that goes in the back of a Glock through China somewhere,
right,
and that converts it into a full automatic like the Glock 18. And it was built for some kind of a paint gun that they were using. Those airsoft guns or something.
One of the airsoft's are one of those.
But it fit right into your standard Glock at that point. So they had imported thousands of those before they caught on to the fact that they work in the regular gun. And
then they're like, it's an uh-oh.
So now this guy makes this autokeycard.com. This website's been taken down right now, but he's out of Florida, and he prints these out, and they basically are the metal piece that goes into the early style ARs to convert them to full auto. But these are just printed out of metal, but they're not cut out or anything.
So it's like he sends you something that looks like a business card type thing with the outline pressed in, so you can see the outline.
So he says that it's
art,
First Amendment protected art form, and no criminal has used one of these devices in any crime, as far as they could find in any searches anywhere on the country.
So they have not. So
but
they've not gotten one in their buyback or any of those things. Yeah.
Just because you could buy one, now you cannot stop yourself from converting your AR to full auto. So they say that because you have a mental weakness that this guy's a criminal, and they're going after him at this point.
Well, the interesting thing is that the rumor on the street is that the ATF is truly involved in the oil filter manufacture, sales, and delivery. And so in this case, are they going to go after his records to find out who did it and come knocking on your door?
Well, you can see how they went after the records for the 80% guys. So
knocking on the door. So this one's going to, like the printable gun, this is going to go to court. So the interpretations and the reinterpretations are getting really interesting, where the ATF is trying to figure out.
Is they're going to have to start going after the criminal that actually uses some of this stuff, and not after thought or an idea or something that's a 3D printed or you cannot stop the American spirit of invention, and they just keep getting more and more technically advanced.
Think about it like whack-a-mole. When they hold this guy down, this one over here is like,
hey, I got an idea.
I got an idea. So that, I think, is what's happening. And so I believe right now the ATF has got their big hammer and they're whack-a-moling, and they are not doing so good. Their score is not up there.
Right.
It is. So you sometimes, as you sit there at the arcade and you watch somebody extremely frustrated with their big hammer, right now that would be the ATF, and they're not having a good day.
And keep in mind, if you got a good idea, you could also be on the ATF's radar.
Oh, their most watched list as it goes. But we're going to watch this one because the motion to dismiss has been denied. It's going to go through the courts. So Merry Christmas, everybody, and we will catch you next week.